Today, guys, we're going to be reacting to some. Well, what's the title again? Oh, yeah. 10 dirty adult moments hidden in children movies. So, yeah, this is going to be very, 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 very weird. And, do subscribe, guys, to my other channel. It's Doppelgamer. And subscribe to this channel, Doppelgamer Reactions. And if you want to see me do more reaction videos, do drop a fat like and share this to all your friends, guys, cause well, this channel is full of cringe and you might want to stick around till the end of the video. So yeah, cause that's when time they save the best for last. And let's just get into it. Oh, nice.
We've all seen those dirty jokes that slip by in cartoons and kids' movies. Sometimes a bit of weird adult humor slips by the censors and usually flies over the kids' heads much later in life. Well, the trend is found in video games too. Whether it's some dark, twisted stuff to some dirty adult humor, games have been perverting our minds for decades. Today we're going to be looking at some small but potent examples of inappropriate moments in kids' games. Before we begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our new content. Now, without further ado, here are 10 inappropriate moments in kids' games. Kirby's Dream Land 2. Some of these dirty moments happen at a more primitive time, like when you would punch in 80085 in a calculator and it would look like the word boobs. Well, the developers at Kirby's Dream Land 2 basically did the same thing. The game itself, released on Game Boy in 1995, gave color to our favorite cannibalistic puffball. The game's the same innocent feeding frenzy it always is until the player reaches World 5-5. It's here where the devs put uncensored nudity out in the open on an E-rated game, completely avoiding the censors. At one point in the level, Kirby finds some blocks that look to be in the shape of a smiley face. Cute, right? Wrong. Keep going. Next, he finds two open squares made of boxes, with a box floating in the center. Below it, there's a formation of a Y. Innocent coincidence? I think not. Put them all together. The face, the squares, the Y, they all make a crude, naked lady. Shame on you, Nintendo, exposing our young and impressionable viewers. In all fairness, this is the most tame this list as far as adult themes go. Honestly, if you weren't paying attention, you might even miss it. All three structures are not on the screen all at once. Alright, Nintendo, you get a pass on this one. Now, Super Mario RPG. Super Mario RPG was ahead of its time. It gave us one of the first looks at 3D graphics in the Mushroom Kingdom and gave us the freedom to travel and explore the kingdom in a major franchise release. However, sometimes the player can find things in this new 3D world that they were not supposed to find. As Mario, you can snoop around in Princess Peach's bedroom, another Nintendo first. While you snoop around, you can examine by the fireplace and find an item called Toadstool's question.
Oh my gosh. Guys, video is not sponsored.
Question mark. Well, this is a little strange. Why would the princess have something away in her bedroom and hide it here of all places? Hey, what's that laptop doing on the floor over there? Camera Lakitu, who looks really uncomfortable. In any case, she is extremely fluttered and you're forced to put it back. Peach then chastises Mario for snooping, saying, "You shouldn't snoop in other people's rooms." She's right, we shouldn't be snooping in other people's rooms. However, we're only left to our imaginations as to what Peach was trying to hide from us. Well, this is a list of inappropriate moments in kids' games, so if we had to bet, it would be a personal massager. Yes, it has to be a personal massager and nothing else. Okay, jokes aside, the innuendo here is surprisingly forward. Yet another reason why Super Mario RPG was ahead of its time. It wouldn't be until Paper Mario where we would see Nintendo be this willing to go outside the box in terms of gameplay, style, and humor.
Say what?
Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank have a ton of inappropriate moments and jokes that would take up this entire video, so we thought that we would just talk about some of the better ones here. The most obvious thing to anyone with a dirty mind is the titles of all the games. Ratchet and Clank Going Commando is a euphemism for going in the nude. Up Your Arsenal is a play on up your arse, which is how the Brits say ass. Size Matters is a common phrase for referring to a man's, well, Johnson. Secret Agent Clank was just a clever the devs to call the game Sack. Get it? Tools of Destruction is another inappropriate joke, and the quest was just as obvious. A Crack in Time is about as subtle as South Park's Fractured But Whole. You think the Ratchet & Clank games have nothing else to offer but dirty joke titles? Well, then you must not played any of them. In Ratchet & Clank, there's a section of the game with a hoverboard race. To initiate it, you have to talk to an alien woman. If you talk to her without starting the race, you can do a series of side flips. We have no idea why this happens, but after a few good side flips, you can talk to the alien woman again, and her bazooms are nearly bursting. What? How? Why? Pokemon. Okay, forget about putting this one in the video. Forget about all of it. An entire channel could be made talking about all the horrible, perverted, and downright wrong things that go on in the world of Pokemon. While Ash is off having his 10,000th adventure, dedicated Pokemon fans will shriek in horror at the fact that Yamask used to be a person at some point. Yes, let that sink in for a moment. Yamasks are dead people, actual spirits of dead humans trapped in a Pokemon. It's not just the video games. The anime, the card games, everything in Pokemon has a sick and twisted underside. Don't believe us? Well, alright, let's fire off some instances right now. In the anime, there's a deleted scene where one of Team Rocket's disguises involves James having some big old boobs. In the card game, the original artwork of Misty's Tears had our favorite water-type gym leader posing in a nude silhouette. In the video games, 2 words: Lavender Town. Let's face it, Pokemon is not a game for kids. The more you look into the world of Pokemon, the more terrifying it becomes. The fact that Drifloon tried to kidnap, how Hypno also tries to lure children away? Why are Pokemon even trying to kidnap kids? We'll have to come back to this topic or start another YouTube channel just to cover the dark side of Pokemon. Banjo-Kazooie. Ah, Banjo-Kazooie. Rareware's best game franchises. This lovable collectathon captured our attention and never let go. Fans of the franchise even got a rare spiritual successor with Yooka-Laylee. We're not going to do it in this video, but if you're at all curious, yes, Yooka-Laylee is absolutely filled to the brim with innuendo. It's glorious. Everything about this franchise was just packed to the brim with family-friendly, bubbly content. What could be so wrong about a cute little bear collecting Jiggies with his best pal? Sharks. Sharks can happen. Well, to be more specific, Clanker, the mechanical shark. Not only do you get to see this smiling, toothy shark, but you also come to realize that Clanker is not all robot, but is some hellfish, half-flesh cyborg. You eventually have to shoot out one of his teeth to get a Jiggy, but this offers a nice juxtaposition. Around the same time, on the same system in fact, in The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you have to go inside a giant fish as well, Lord Jabu Jabu. In the belly of the whale, you face electric jellyfish and other horrors, but here, Clanker seems a little more off-putting. Maybe it's the fact that in the bright and happy world of Banjo-Kazooie, there's a bleeding, fleshy, half-robot shark. Comparatively, a sick whale in Zora's domain does not sound so bad. Don't worry though, we'll get back to Ocarina of Time before this video's over. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Twilight Princess broke new ground when it came out way back in 2006. As people were still arguing over whether or not Wind Waker was a good Zelda game, which it totally was, by the way. Every time someone challenges me on this, I show them how the fight with Ganondorf goes. Absolutely brutal. Twilight Princess brought Zelda back to a more grounded art style and made the series a bit darker, thematically and literally. With Link traveling between light and dark worlds, things can get a little trippy. Now, Legend of Zelda games are no stranger to weird and trippy visuals. One of the best games in the franchise, Majora's Mask, had Skull Kid curse Link and turn him into a Deku psychedelic voodoo magic mask, but we're not here to talk about Majora's Mask. Instead, we're on a sequence in Twilight Princess where things get a little too creepy, even for a Zelda game. In this little cutscene, we see the origin of the Triforce, like we have a million times before. However, unlike before, we're shown the power of the dark side, and strangely enough, Dark Link is there. What comes next is nothing short of a David Lynch-inspired horror story. Link is turned to dust by the Dark Links, only to be seen joining them, this time with no pupils for maximum creepiness. More trippy visuals question our sanity as we're forced to watch all this unfold, and then as quickly as it came, it ended. Seriously though, Link's twisted smile throughout, the extreme close-up of pupil-less Link, ugh, nightmare-inducing. Well, time to go save the princess. Earthbound. Earthbound is a game that's often referenced, but not many have actually played it. It was released as Mother 2 in Japan, and the rest of the world knows simply as Earthbound. The franchise is better known now because of Ness and Lucas being in Super Smash Bros., but it's been credited as Toby Fox's main inspiration for Undertale. However, Earthbound is filled with rich characters and content, and perhaps one of the most memorable boss fights in history. Well, it may also have to do with the fact that Gigas, the final boss in the game, is so unnerving and terrifying. You and your team are sent back in time to try and stop Gigas before he can become the cosmic destroyer of reality. Even in this stage, he's very and is capable of wiping out your whole team. All the while, you have to look at his red, hazy face. Look at it. It's the stuff of nightmares. However, the truly new stuff doesn't happen until halfway through the fight when Gigas starts talking to you. Occasionally it'll say like, I'm happy. I am happy. It's not right. Ness. It hurts. You're killing him, and he does not want to fight back. Ness and friends have gone back time to kill a being who by all accounts has done nothing wrong, but will do a lot of bad things in the future. That's right. Nintendo made players perform a sci-fi fourth-dimensional abortion. Now that is twisted. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. We've talked about The Legend of Zelda a couple of times during this list, and we think this game specifically has more than earned its spot. The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is considered by many to be one of the greatest games of all time. We're not going to debate this because really, what is there to argue about? More importantly, there are places Ocarina of Time goes where few Zelda games have ever dared to go. The Dark. We talked about how dark Twilight Princess got, but nothing in that game could really compare to the Shadow Temple in the bottom of the well. Those two levels delve deep into the catacombs and the land of the dead. I have to say, Nintendo does not hold back. The imagery in these levels goes above and beyond. For example, there are several crossed wooden beams in the well level, and you may think that those are just there for decoration, but in fact, those are St. Andrew's crosses named after the famous martyr of the same name. These crosses are used for brutal torture, and to have them prominently displayed in a game like this sends chills down anyone's spine. Speak chills, Redeads. The shrieking Redeads. Many young gamers were terror over the shambling and moaning corpses, and when they get you and violently shake you, God help you. Redeads have never been more terrifying than in Ocarina of Time, and yet they pale in comparison to Dead Hand. Roblox. This whole list has been about how devs insert dirty and terrifying material into their games. But what happens when the obscene content is made by the fans? Enter Roblox, a game that prides itself on being user-generated. Players can make their own games for other players to explore and experience. Well, thanks to a combination of prepubescent kids and the inevitable, the internet is flooded with mature Roblox games. Some of these fine gems include Have Sex in Roblox 18+, Sexy Role Plays, and many more. Look, we admit a good number of these are trolls trying to cash in on the cringe hype surrounding this absolutely absurd trend, but you have to know on some level, some eager kid is playing these games. The ironic enjoyment can only go so far before you have kids actually enjoying these games. We've even covered some of these topics on this channel already. If you want more, just look through our videos. After you finish this one, of course. So, why do any of it? What compels someone to make a mature game for Roblox? For laughs, because they can and will. Keep in mind, we're not saying this because we're cynical and wish they would stop. In fact, the more of these games there are, the better time we'll all have. Kids can pretend to be adults for a split second, and we can all laugh and cringe at the attempt. Super Mario Sunshine. So, how can Mario scar your kids this time? We've already talked about how he snoops around Peach's room with her personal massager, so what else could he possibly do? Abuse animals. Well, yeah. Now, this may not be a huge shock to anyone who's played a Mario game, but the red and blue plumber basically makes a living stomping poor defenseless creatures with his boots. Whether they're Goombas or Koopas, Mario doesn't care. He will kill them all. Hell, they don't even have to be foes for Mario to give them the middle finger. We all know how you can get a little more oomph in your jump by ditching Yoshi and letting him fall down a cliff, never to be seen again. Alive, that is. While all of those examples are enough to get Mario on PETA's bad side, we'd like to talk about a particularly brutal example in Super Mario Sunshine. I'll admit, I'm not very squeamish, but when I first played this game as a kid, it made me feel a little uncomfortable. In the game, there is a recurring boss named Gooper Blooper, who's a giant blooper with long tentacles and a corked pucker. How do you defeat this monster? By slowly and pulling his arms off while he squirms and begs for mercy. You see, with all the other folks, it was a quick and painless death with a single boot heel to the back of the neck. Here, poor Gooper blessed to have all of his tentacles ripped off, and what do we get after this carnage? Mario grinning ear to ear as he gets another Shine Sprite. And those were just some inappropriate things in kids' games. Do you agree with this list? Do you have a memorable dirty video game? If so, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer for the latest gaming list content. Thanks for watching!
So guys, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and comment what you want me to react to next, and I will see you guys next time.